Today, we're exposing the 6 worst UK coffee brands people keep buying, and the truth behind what's actually in your cup. By the time you finish this video, your entire coffee routine will change forever. Stick around to the end to see which coffee brands are actually worth investing your money into. Number 6 begins with mass-market instant coffee, but specifically Lidl's Belaram Gold Instant Coffee. Shoppers love it because it's cheap, quick, and everywhere, but instant coffee comes with hidden problems the average customer never hears about. Instant coffee is produced using beans at the bottom of the quality ladder, beans that are chipped, defective, bitter, or borderline unusable for whole bean roasting. These beans are roasted at extremely high temperatures to compensate for defects, which encourages the formation of acrylamide, a compound that appears whenever starchy foods are heavily heated. Acrylamide is regulated in the EU for a reason. Long-term exposure is considered undesirable. Instant coffee consistently ranks among the highest acrylamide-containing foods on the shelf, and Belaram Gold falls within that same production reality. The harsh roasting also produces a burnt, metallic flavor many people confuse with strength. But that strength is often simply damaged coffee oils, degraded antioxidants, and bitterness created by overheated beans. The freeze-drying process may also leave behind residues from production, stabilizers used during spray drying, or anti-caking agents that help the granules dissolve. Lidl doesn't break any rules, but the nature of instant coffee means you're drinking something far removed from fresh roasted beans. Number 5 is Starbucks, a brand so massive and globally recognized that people assume its coffee must be premium. But Starbucks built its empire on consistency, not quality. To achieve that, the company roasts its beans darker than most specialty roasters would ever consider acceptable. The reason is simple. A very dark roast hides imperfections in the beans and ensures a predictable, uniform taste across thousands of locations. The problem? Extremely dark roasting destroys many beneficial compounds in coffee and creates a harsher drink that can irritate your stomach and spike acidity. Customers who complain about stomach burning or jittery energy after Starbucks often don't realize the roast profile is partly responsible. Dark roasted coffee contains fewer antioxidants and may include degraded coffee oils, which can produce a bitter, burnt flavor. It's the Starbucks taste, but that taste comes at the cost of lost nutrients and increased acidity. Starbucks also relies heavily on syrups, powders, and sweeteners to mask bitterness, meaning the average drink has more sugar than the coffee itself. People think they're drinking a sophisticated roast. In reality, they're often drinking bitterness smothered in additives. Number 4 is the Coffee Club, a brand that markets itself on lifestyle and cafe culture. But many consumers don't realize how much prepackaged or bulk-roasted coffee goes into these operations. Large cafe chains often use beans roasted in giant batches far in advance, then sealed and distributed across multiple locations. This means you're not getting freshly roasted beans, you're getting coffee that may have been roasted weeks or months earlier. And once coffee is roasted, its oils begin oxidizing immediately. Oxidized oils taste stale, flat, and slightly sour. They also lose much of the natural antioxidant activity that makes high-quality coffee beneficial. The Coffee Club's blends often lean toward medium-dark roasts to maintain consistency, but that can still mean diminished complexity and increased acidity. And like many chain cafes, flavorings, syrups, and milk alternatives often contain stabilizers and gums that add to digestive discomfort. It's not uncommon for customers to feel wired, jittery, or bloated after a Coffee Club drink, not because of the caffeine alone, but because of the additives riding alongside it. Number 3 brings us to pre-ground supermarket coffees in vacuum-sealed packs, sold everywhere from Tesco to corner shops. These coffees might seem convenient, but pre-ground coffee deteriorates rapidly. Once beans are ground, oxidation accelerates and mold susceptibility increases. Studies have found that pre-ground coffee can contain measurable levels of ochratoxin A, a toxin produced by certain molds that grow during poor storage conditions. Regulations keep levels low, but any amount of mold toxin is still something consumers should know about. Manufacturers compensate for staleness by using nitrogen flushing, but nitrogen can't reverse the damage caused by early oxidation. If your coffee tastes strangely flat or sour even when freshly opened, it's not your brewing. It's the staleness built into the product long before you bought it. Number 2 targets cheap supermarket Italian-style blends, the ones boasting bold fonts, dark packaging, and continental flair. These blends are almost never Italian. They're simply roasted extra dark to disguise low-quality beans sourced globally at the cheapest rates. Very dark roasting might sound desirable, but the truth is that burning beans masks flaws by overwhelming them with smokiness. Unfortunately, it also creates polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, compounds found in charred foods. While coffee is regulated and generally safe, drinking heavily burnt blends daily means exposing yourself to compounds your body doesn't want in large amounts. If your coffee tastes smokier than a barbecue grill, that's not a style. That's the flavor of low-grade beans pushed past their limit. And finally, number 1, the ultra-cheap value coffees at the bottom shelf of every UK supermarket, the ones costing £1 or £2 a jar. These products use the lowest quality beans available anywhere in the coffee industry, beans that specialty roasters would never touch. Defect beans, insect-damaged beans, over-fermented beans, and beans improperly dried or stored are all common in bargain blends. Many come from farms where beans are dried on bare concrete or dirt. Others sit in humid warehouses long enough for mold spores to develop before roasting burns away the visible evidence. Manufacturers then roast the beans extremely dark to neutralize the off flavors. But this doesn't remove underlying issues. It simply covers them in smoke. This kind of coffee is notorious for causing jitters, crashing energy, and stomach irritation, not because of caffeine levels, but because of bean quality, damaged oils, and the harshness of the roast. But here's the good news. You don't need to give up coffee. You just need to choose coffee that's actually coffee, not industrial byproducts disguised as convenience. Because when you switch to real beans and real production standards, everything changes. So here are 2 coffees in the UK you should be buying. Brands that still respect the bean, the roast, and your health. First is Asda's Kenyan and Ethiopian single-origin ranges. This might surprise you, but Asda actually has one of the best affordable coffee selections on the UK high street, specifically their Kenyan and Ethiopian single-origin beans. Unlike blended supermarket coffee, single-origin beans are traceable, higher quality, and roasted to preserve natural flavors rather than hide defects. Kenyan beans are known for their clarity, fruit notes, and brightness. Ethiopian beans offer floral aromas, natural sweetness, and complex acidity. Asda's ranges use genuinely better quality beans at a price most shoppers can afford. They're whole beans, or properly ground, not instant, not burnt, and not stale industrial blends. If you want an entry-level upgrade from instant coffee without spending a fortune, this is where you start. And finally, James Gourmet Coffee. This is the opposite of mass-produced, over-roasted chain coffee. This is small-batch roasting done properly. Freshly roasted beans, transparent origins, ethical sourcing, and roast profiles that preserve flavor instead of destroying it. Their beans are roasted in small amounts to ensure freshness, and the difference is immediate. Smooth energy, better digestion, no bitterness, no burnt aftertaste, no chemical coffee flavor. Just real beans handled by people who understand coffee rather than corporations who understand marketing. James Gourmet is the kind of coffee that reminds you what coffee is supposed to taste like.